And basically this showcase is basically part of the Strengthening an Inclusive Innovation Ecosystem through an HBCU Community of Practice grant. And this is funded through NSF. And some of the focal areas are basically making, innovation, entrepreneurship, and invention. Next slide, please. And this is our project team, led by Dr. Iris Wagstaff, who is not here today due to another commitment. I'm Pam Asante. We also have Claire Malloy and Naya Ahmed joining us today. And also from NFM and Associates, our evaluator team, featuring Dr. Kavita Minipali, Ms. Nina de las Alas, and Ms. Debbie Igumbor. And we also have our advisory board, who is featured here. Again, today we have Dr. Ellie Fini leading us today. And our next slide also features other members of our advisory board as well. Thank you. And so as you all know, in joining the Maker Showcase, it's not just about that showcase in September, but we have a number of different components to the actual program. So we have e-mentoring, as you're basically participating in today. We also have training and other forms of professional development, relationship building. And if you do win the competition at the end, there is prize money involved, as well as national recognition. And then we also provide a second year of continued support in the showcase. Thank you. And just to highlight just briefly, accountability again, we do want you all to take this very seriously, just because a large amount of time and resources have been invested into this program for your benefit. So if you are not able to attend, please, or if you know your team members are not able to attend, please do hold them accountable and just ensure that they are watching the recordings and submitting their summary, as we've mentioned in different emails. Next slide, please. And as discussed during the orientation, we do have a new rubric, and basically today's session will be addressing the first portion. So the problem and solution fit, basically focusing on the clarity of the problem being addressed, as well as how well your proposed solution actually solves the problem. Next slide, please. Thank you. And so I will be turning it over to Dr. Ellie Fini. She is our an associate professor at the Arizona State University, and she is a member of our advisory board. Thank you so much, Dr. Fini.
Thank you, Pam. Hello, everyone. Thank you for being here. And we will have fun today, I promise you, talking about innovation and how to make sure innovation and technology commercialization go hand in hand. So I will start talking about this innovation, and we will do some engagement and activities today. So gear up, be ready. We want to brainstorm together and learn together today. As Pam mentioned, this is an effort sponsored by multiple agencies. Of course, it's led by AAAS, but here is VentureWell that's been supportive of some of our activities here at ASU, and of course, NSF was sponsoring these events. So just to start, I want everybody think about what is innovation. I know this is Innovation Showcase, and you will be joining us in DC, and we will do all these fun activities together and demo, but think about what is innovation. So for a second, just think about it, what it means to innovate. I would start by a definition so we get everybody on the same page. Basically, when we talk about innovation, we are talking about the design, development, implementation of new or altered product. It could be just, products that exist, sort of like think of iPhone. We had iPhone 4 and now we are up to iPhone 13 or so, right? So every time there is an innovation, there is a new feature, an altered products, service, process. It could be system or organizational structure, or even business model. These are all included in innovation landscape or the definition. When you think about the innovation, it's actually multidimensional. It could be product, like you think about an iPhone, or a new gadget you bought, could be an innovative, could be new, right? Or an electric car. but it also could be in the process. You may change the process to be more effective, more efficient, or even on the management side. And so I know many of you are working on the product and system level, but I want you to have this bigger definition of innovation as we start. So when the innovation, it happens, there is a purpose. The purpose usually is to create new value. That's why I put it in bold. So we want to create new value. All of you are trying to create new value. For who? For customers. Of course, customers are different, and we'll talk about it a little bit today. But ultimate goal is some sort of return. It could be financial, in actual dollar money return, could be other means, but there is a return. So we create a value for a return, could be monetary or non-monetary, but that value has to create some revenue, monetary or non-monetary. So when you think about process management product, you want to make a business that is successful, right? So, but you may think about, if I create a new value, it gotta be successful. Why would it fail? It's a value, right? I just created a new value. But I'm here to tell you that actually many businesses, they don't make it out. Of course, you have to have perseverance. You have to offer a good value, a good competitive advantage. We'll talk about those. But still, sometimes the companies fail, and I'm sure you have heard about it. Number one cause of failure is when you build something that nobody needs. Here I give you some numbers of number one, number two, cause of failure, number 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There are many causes of failure. You can think of companies that are out of business. Why they went out of business? And there are many examples, I'm sure you know. One of those causes, and the biggest one, is if you make something that nobody needs, or they may have needed before, they no longer need it. That may also cause you go out of business if what you are making is no longer needed. So because need is a big element, we're gonna go through a design thinking process to make sure the need is real. And it's not real in my mind or in your mind. It's actually real in terms of our customer, whoever we are targeting. So that is super important to think about design thinking process. And here you can see boxes that are bold. Think about empathy. First, you have to put yourself in the shoes of customer. Do they think and need the same way you think? So thinking, empathizing and having empathy, that's the first step. Then you define a need. After you figure out and learn about your customer, you define a need. When you define the need, you have to go iterate, talk to customer, come back, talk, customer, come back, figure out the landscape. The need may change several times. So we will put a lot of this emphasis today on the need definition. And then after the need is defined, we ideate, we create a prototype, we test the prototype, we come back, maybe pivot, we improve the prototype again and again. This could be very repetitive process to get to a product that is viable. And sometimes we call it minimally viable product to start. And that's a very good way to create something that then I can run it by customer, run it by my partner to see if that has still value, if the way I'm doing it create value. Because there is also two things. We may have a good need, recognize the right need. It is true. And I guess in this case, you get some help with AAAS already predefining the areas we're going to address on the UN sustainability goals. So sort of we have that umbrella. Of course, under that, there will be many different ways to address UN sustainability goals. But at least we have the umbrella predefined. So after you have the prototype, what do? You test and test and test and test. And this is not the stop. Even the companies that are in business now, they keep testing their product, improving it, and so forth. That's how you see products like, a smartphone keep getting better and better, because this is not the first one they came up with. We are in version, whatever, number 13 with iPhone, because there is keep improving their initial thought or idea or prototype. So the box you can see here, I put 5 of them in colored bold. These are the steps of design thinking process. But let's say you have a product, you have a value, you create a business. What else is involved in that? I put a canvas here, which is very broad, and probably I'll give you another lecture sometime for you so you can get all those boxes, learn about all of these boxes. But today I'm gonna just focus on value proposition, which is this red box here, because it's super important to actually create value. To create value, you need to recognize the right need, and you need to bring the value you are creating at a price or at a cost that the customer you're targeting can pay for it or is willing to pay for it. So it's not just having the best product, it's also important to bring it at a value, dollar value that is appropriate for your customer segment. So there you can see this canvas is a very comprehensive canvas, initially started by Stanford and the lean startup. And every element of it is important to make a business successful. But since we are at the beginning of the step with you guys creating your value proposition, we're going to put more emphasis on value proposition today. And hopefully I get other opportunities to talk to you about these other boxes. But let's make sure our first box, which is this red box, is defined well, and we're going to get a good value proposition or even an excellent value proposition that it worth building such a canvas around it. Because if you don't have a value proposition, every other box is meaningless. Whether you talk about channel, customer, revenue, they won't come into play if you don't have the right value proposition. So I'm going to talk about value proposition in a second, but let me tell you a bit more about other causes of failure. I keep emphasizing if you build something that nobody wants or need, that's the cause of failure. It's a big one. Other cause of failure is when you make something that somebody need or people need it, but is not competitive. Whether it's the cost, whether it's quality of the service or product, whether it's time of delivery. Sometimes businesses just go out of business because they are ahead of their time or they are late. So even the time of delivery is important to make sure you are competitive. I put these two in yellow because we're going to put some emphasis on it. Is a first step to get things right before you put every other element of business together. And this second one could actually go wrong if we insist on our original idea and if we ignore and we are ignorant to what customers tell us or what our landscape tell us. So we have to be actually very observant, and if we have to pivot, we have to be open to pivot. Sometimes I have fallen in love with our idea so badly that we are not willing to change even at the cost of going out of business. Another one of this is when you don't have any product to even get feedback. So the first step I mentioned, after we have an idea, let's try to create some minimally viable product so we can go out and get feedback on it. These are some of the very first steps to make sure what we are building as business, as innovation, it can succeed. So I will start with need, and soon we're gonna have breakout room, but just about need. I want everybody in the groups and breakout room to start thinking about what is that I'm trying to address? What's the problem? Why am I even innovating? Every one of you now have a project. I know you've already proposed project, which is great. But we go back and think about, is there a true, actual fundamental need for what I'm trying to make? I put need in yellow because all we're gonna talk about in few more minutes here in breakout rooms will be about need. So all of you will receive a link in chat where you click on to get access to definition and questions associated with the need. If I ask you, what is the need for this product you're making or the service or innovation you are making, you should have an answer, solid answer to defend there is a real need for your innovation. So get that link that is gonna be in chat, click on it, And then Claire will send us to our breakout room when we will discuss and write what is the need from that breakout room. You will not necessarily be with your team member. You will meet new people, but this need will be defined for that breakout room. You can discuss what is a need and come up with a write-up of the definition of a need and what you think is a pain. I usually use the word pain because it gives it a better annotation when it's talking about something really painful. And I assume everything you have identified as your problem to solve, it's a pain associated with that. Otherwise, why do I need your solution? So by show of hand, thumbs up, show me that you have access to the link. You were successfully get into the document we put in the chat box. And then we go to our breakout room. Have that page handy so you can write in it. Join your breakout room and I'll see you there.
Can you please send again the breakout room request?
Yes, one moment. It should be an option to join. Okay, it's like she made it in.
Hi everyone.
Hello.
Hi.
I I had a question about the breakout rooms.
Yes.
Seems like there is no facilitator there. Are we supposed to like have it done on our own?
Yeah, it's supposed to be a discussion amongst all of the participants in the breakout room. Was no one participating?
No, we were not sure if there was supposed to be like a lead or like a mentor. So I was voted to like step out and ask, and how much time we have to do
I
that.
see. There's just a few more minutes. There's not a moderator in every room just because we don't have enough moderators here. So feel free to lead the discussion, or it can be a group discussion. And I can also, Naya, if you want to go to their room. You're on mute.
That's fine. If you can send me over there, I can lead the discussion.
Okay, sounds good. And what room were you in?
I think that was breakout room 2.
Okay. I will put Naya there, but it will be closing shortly, just by the way.
Okay. Thank you.
Mhm. Okay, what room were you in, Emanuela? Do you remember? Okay, I'm actually gonna bring folks back in since it's been 5 minutes, but you'll have a
I'll just go in one next
chance.
time.
What was that, Naya?
I can just go into a breakout room next time if it.
Yes, that's what I was thinking.
Okay.
Sounds good, thank you.
So, Ellie, it looks like we have a lot of needs being articulated. So,
Yes, the groups were very active. Actually, Nina, they did a great job. So let me, some of the, I think teams were, or students were a bit confused of how to write or what to write. So guys, when you go back to the next breakout room, you don't need to necessarily write your name. We know who you are. So write about that topic, like the need. In this breakout room, we wrote, I saw some of you were writing, my customer has this pain or that pain. This is good. So you can add, it shows you already recognize the need, plus you know your customer has that need. So some of the sentences we saw in breakout room are actually need. Some started talking about the advantage. That's not the case. We don't want to know what's the benefit of your problem, the solving. If you solve it, what's the benefit? That's not the purpose of need. The purpose for the need definition is to find real, truly painful problem that is recognized and we want to solve it. So if I share Nina, can I share the document?
sure, go ahead, share the
Yeah.
document.
So this is what you guys came up with. I guess in the breakout room, you wrote some, which is actually good. So this definition was telling you what to think about. This is more like hint, guidance, what to write. So here we have one, my customer are senior citizens with Parkinson's disease and need enhanced mobility tool in their household. So if you actually know this is true, like this is what this person think, right? They think this is the problem, but this is what they think. Do the Parkinson's disease person thinks the same way? Do they really need this? And here we see actually the customer. The customer are the senior citizen, but we are recognizing this as a problem. So the next step is actually to figure out if this person, the senior citizen, has this problem, or we think he or she has that problem. So that portion is sort of validation of the need, where we go talk to the people, our customer, who we think they have that problem, to validate or to refuse or reject. Sometimes we think somebody has a problem with this and we go talk to them and they say, no, 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 this is not my problem. Yes, I have Parkinson, but my problem is this and this, not what you thought it is, which is actually very informative as we are establishing the need for our project, for our innovation. So some of these are actually, see, you guys did a great job. Some of you added your name, which is perfect too. But if you look at some of these ideas here, and you will have access to all of these things generated during the breakout rooms. So it would also help during the breakout room if you guys talk and with each other to refine a pain, but it's okay if you just want to think and write on your own. That's perfectly fine. We want to make sure you have a moment to reflect, that few minutes just to think about what is truly a need. Am I going to spend the next several months of my time solving that is something that is not real, solving a problem that nobody has? You don't want to do that, right? So this few minutes is really a reflection of for us to figure out if this need I define is real, is true. Do people really suffer from such a problem? Here is another one. My customers experience overwhelming rate of crop failure due to, and he is giving the example even, due to not knowing how to meet their plant's nutritional needs. So this is what they think. They think if the customer knows how to meet their plant nutritional needs, then they would not suffer from the crop failure. They may go check with the customer and they say, well, I already gave enough nutrition to my soil, it's pretty fertile, but these pests that kills my plants. Figure out the problem for the pest. So maybe we are having recognized the right problem, maybe we are not. But just writing it out to say, this is what I think the problem is, it will provide the step for the next step to go and figure out if it's true. Let's look one more. Here we say, my customers suffer from exposure to poor air quality. Here, this person thinks wherever the customer is, and we didn't ask who the customer is, so it's perfectly fine. Later we will, but this one is about air quality. She or he thinks that his customer or her customers suffering from dirty air, poor air quality, polluted air. They are breathing polluted air wherever they are. Let's say a polluted city. Maybe they are there, or maybe they are in activities in a factory that the air is not cleaned enough. We don't know where, but at least this person thinks poor air quality is the problem. Just by spelling it out, now we can then go figure out who is that person who is suffering from air quality. Where are they? And then we narrow that down, then we start asking, do you really have that problem? We can ask the customer to figure out if this problem is real. And we don't really directly ask because maybe the customer doesn't know they have air quality problem. So the question is not it's supposed not to be direct. Like you don't ask them, hey, do you have air quality problem? They may not even know. We will get questions that are indirectly get to that answer to figure out if this problem is real or not. You guys are awesome. They did a brilliant job writing all these problems, which helps you and helps your other students in the group because you will all have access to this. So you can see how you narrate your problem. At least the problem you think it is a problem, because we haven't validated it yet. Perfect. So we're gonna go back to continue with the next step, because now we talk about need. We know what's the need. At least we think we know what the need is, what the problem is. So the next step, which is also super important, is to figure out if this need is real, and if I have the money, if somebody gonna cut me a check today for $1 million, how am I gonna fix it? How am I gonna address that problem? So this is a step called approach. And I wrote here, inventors try to understand the technology, the solution. Because if you don't really understand your solution, you cannot improve it. So even though sometimes the solution is too complex, it could be an engineering solution that is beyond our core expertise. Let's say I'm a material engineer. I may not know enough about other aspects of the problem, maybe social science side of it, behavioral science side of things. But I should try to understand the technology as much as possible, even if it's not in my core discipline. So this is the characteristics of inventor, actually. They try to understand the technology, which by that meaning, I say the approach. They try to understand and explain and communicate how they're gonna solve the problem. With need, we figure out what the problem is. If we answer what part, now is the answer for how. So you're gonna get another link in the chat. Make sure you click on the right link to talk about approach. If I'm gonna cut you a check today for $1 million, I tell you, great problem you find. This is a real problem. Let's go solve it. How you gonna solve it? What technology, what solution you gonna put behind it? And sometimes my students say, well, I don't have all the coding expertise. I don't know how to make this gadget. It's okay. You have some idea of how to go about the solution. Then you can bring the team of computer scientists and coders and others, maybe manufacturers, to help. But you as an inventor need to have an idea of how part. All right, so by show of hands, tell me you have access to the next link and you can get in. Thumbs up. Thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up. All right, click on the link, get to the link, and I'll see you in the breakout room. Start writing.
For those of you still in the main room, you should have received a breakout room invite. Please click that invite and head to the room.
Right, great. Welcome back, guys. You did a marvelous job with approach. You guys are brilliant talking about how you're gonna solve the problem. I know not everybody doesn't know everybody's problem, customer's problem, but when you write the approach, you can start with my approach to solve the, let's say, Parkinson problem. My approach to solve the Parkinson problem is, and then you say what it is. So if I want to give you $1 million today to solve it, I know what I'm paying for. So the approach is more the method or the technology you're attaching to the solution, to the problem, to solve it. So you did a great job. Let me just share a few examples from the recent write-up on approach. Here, one breakout room 7, group 7, here it wrote, they're gonna collect data in different community hubs. They didn't get to finish it to say how, so data on what and how they're gonna collect. It could be with a robot, it could be, an unmanned vehicle, survey, how. So approach is about how part. The more you can tell me the how part, the better refined approach is. So imagine you are the one that cutting a check and I am the one that doing the solution. You want to know what you are paying for, right? So think about it this way. When you are cutting a check, what do you need to know before you pay? How much about that solution, a specific detail of the approach that I'm gonna take? Maybe you don't like me to go about making an electric vehicle, for instance. So in the approach, if you're investing on what you want to invest and if this solution would be solid. The reason I asked you to write, let's see one more, ask you to write the approach is this is really the part that if you go about patenting it or part of the value proposition, argue this is valuable for investors, really is the approach. Because many people are trying to solve the same problem. I'm sure the problem you found, if it's important enough, is not just you trying to solve it. The difference between different businesses, and of course, the difference between their success level is how they're gonna go about solving the problem. Just as simple as the same two example, I'm sure you have different smartphones. Just look at the smartphones. They are all solving similar problem. They are all enabling us to do similar thing, but their approach to get there is different. There are some differences. That's how they have different, patents and know-how around their solution. Or another bigger example, many people are trying to clean water. We know we have water pollution problem in different parts of cities, but not every company is doing the same way to clean water. Some may use chemical treatment, some may use filtering, some may use membrane technology, reverse osmosis, many different ways to solve the same problem. So when we define the need, two of us may have the same need, but we still could have two different companies because we go find different ways to solve it. And that's why approach is so important, because that's actually differentiate between companies and businesses who are in the same domain. We'll talk about that in next breakout room, but there are a competitive landscape. Many people are trying to solve the same problem, especially if it's very important. Here at Arizona State University, a group of us are looking at harvesting atmospheric water. We're collecting water from the air, atmospheric water. Yes, we need that water, but there are many people doing it different way. How to collect water from atmosphere is different. They have different patents, as such could be very different companies. So one more example here, we read about one more problem. Let's see. You did great job. Look how many approach. That's awesome. Okay, here is my approach is to create a passive air cleaning device that people can wear. Right there is an approach. Nina.
Yeah, sorry. Ellie, we are running low on time. And we're getting so much engagement here that unfortunately we're low. But how can we proceed before we move to taking a poll?
Sure. Yeah,
So
let me wrap up here, Nina. Thank you for bringing it up. We just did the two most important steps, which is need and approach. And I want you to go back and forth with need and approach because they need to be connected. And we can have another follow-up session after this, but you will receive instruction from Pam on how to move forward and create your quad chart. She will send more information. We'll move on to poll, and if there is opportunity, we get together again to talk about other aspects of a successful business. Hand it back to you, Nina.
actually, let's hand it back to Pam.
Thank you again so much for joining. So we're going to launch our poll right now, just to get feedback on how everything went today. So that just launched. And if you have any questions, feel free to contact the Maker team at hbcumaker@AAAS.org. And I'm going to actually add in our email here as well. And if anyone had any brief questions, I know like the poll is also up as well. You can drop that in the chat if you wanted to, I guess, just ask any really quick questions before we end. If you've already completed.
Sorry, I just have a quick question concerning the files shared earlier, the links for the files. Can we maybe get them again so that we can fill them up? I missed out on one though.
I'm sorry, what was your question again?
I was asking for the link for the files shared earlier where we are putting our needs and approach.
Oh, sure.
And that will also be emailed as well after the session. So Dr. Fini actually provided kind of a worksheet for you all to work on to kind of ideate specifically concerning your specific projects. So it'll address the need, the approach, the competition/competitive advantage. And I know, Dr. Fini, I'm missing like one other piece, but all four documents concerning each chunk of the chart that she's using will be shared out with students. So you all can work on this with your teams, and we'll also request that you submit those worksheets by April 23rd. But we'll provide more instructions in our email, our follow-up email. I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, Pam, can you show what that worksheet looks like so they have a preview of what
Yeah, sure.
they can expect? Yeah.
I had it open and now it's in here.
And then as Pam is trying to do that, are there any other questions this time? So yeah, Dr. Fini's kind enough to willing to take a look at all 20 projects. So as a group, you can complete, there's this worksheet, right? Exactly the same thing that we did to walk through the first two on needs and approach. And she's willing to take a look at them and give you feedback, and we'll be doing it through AAAS. So based on Pam's email to you all, she will collect that, send it over to Dr. Fini, and she'll review them, and within around a week's time, send it back to you with some feedback. So already you'll have an opportunity to have some those in their experts to review, even at the problem statement stage, where you all stand and can improve.
Thank you, Nina and Pam. This is actually the template that you can use the highlighted section, replace it with your content. So this is actually one of my students who has patented this same idea. He is now an inventor, got this idea patented by US Patent Office. So you actually see the exact template of his initial idea, where he started back in several years ago. So if you replace this content, you're actually walking the same path that he did. You can replace the logo with your own logo, your university logo, and your team logo. All the instructions are there where you can replace. But keep it as short and concise and to the point. See how he has done it with bullet point? Try to use that template. And don't replace the ones that are not highlighted. Keep the template as is. You don't need to innovate on the template. I want you to innovate on the content, right? Keep the template as is.
Thank you so much for providing all this content, Dr. Finney. I don't know if anyone had any additional questions for her before you all log off, and hopefully you all have also completed the poll as well.
I had a question.
Yes.
This template will, or yes, this template will be sent to us in the follow-up email after the session, correct?
Yes.
Okay, thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you.
Pam, will the template be also have a link to the recording and the copy of the slides?
Yeah, so that email will feature the slide recording, this template, as well as the slides. I said the slide recording, sorry, the meeting recording, the slides, and then the template.
So the expectation is that there will be one template that they need to submit for Dr. Finney's review per team. But what about for those who aren't here today? Do they still have to submit something to AAAS?
Yes, thank you so much for that question. Yeah, so those who were absent today, they wouldn't have to submit an individual worksheet like this. They would just collaborate with their team and submit one document on behalf of the entire team. But they would be required to submit a summary of what basically they got from the meeting recording, just to make sure that they understand the content well. And that I will also send basically a form basically to have folks upload their summaries onto that document. Because we are keeping track of attendance.
Any other questions?
I'm gonna stop sharing my screen now. We have like 2 minutes left. I'm assuming that everyone has had a chance to complete the poll. If not, let us know. We can I can share my screen and get up the QR code just so you have time to complete it. I think I'll just do that now, just in case.
Great. What's coming next, Pam?
Yes. So our next e-mentoring session is coming right up. I'll also send that information in the email as well. So we're scheduling, we're keeping it at, basically this time frame of 12 to 1. I know that we asked for feedback, but this is the time that we were able to work with, 12 to 1 p.m. Eastern time. So we do it we host the e-mentoring sessions the second Wednesday of every month at this time. And I'll also add that information in the follow-up email as well. And I believe you all should have also received the calendar invitation. If you have not, let me know and I will resend it. I know that there are some folks that I sent them emails and it bounced back. I don't know if it was a spam issue or what the case was, but please do let me know if you have not received that calendar invitation series. And I know that some folks joined at 11:30, so we just have that as kind of our tech check from 11:30 to 12, but the actual session does begin at 12 noon Eastern time.
All right. Well, it is 1 o'clock. So thank you, Dr. Finney. That was great.
Of course, happy to
Really
be with you.
informative.
Thank you for organizing it. I think this is a great activity, and I hope a student take advantage of this, all the mentoring and effort you guys putting together. I mentioned my student who wrote this template, he is an inventor now. So all of our students in this room and in this effort with HBCU innovation have opportunity to become inventor and have an issued US patent invention if they go about, do their work and find out the really true niche that find out the right way to solve it. It's not difficult to become inventor. And I guess I wrap up by saying inventorship is a learned attribute, guys. You're not born as an inventor. If you can learn how to swim or how to run, you can learn to become an inventor. Just follow the instruction and the journey. Good luck.
Thank you
you.
so much.
Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hope you have a good one.
Everyone got access to the poll at this point, and I will stop recording.